JD Vance just cannot stop losing, and I love seeing him fall flat on his face. So JD Vance was at VFW Post 92, which is a local chapter of Veterans of Foreign Wars, a nonprofit organization that helps veterans and military service members. Now, he was there for a speech where he absolutely humiliated himself. Now, we'll get to that in a second, but I first want to touch on some of the other embarrassing moments from that speech. So first, let's watch Newsmax cut away from his speech because it was just so boring.
Talk not about Tim Walz right now. I want to talk about what the Harris administration has done to fail these veterans. They've actually tried to cut back on veterans' choice in health care. The disability backlog has gotten worse. Wait times at our VA have gotten worse. The veteran suicide problem is still terrible, and Kamala Harris wants to give.
We're listening in here to the vice presidential choice of Donald Trump, JD Vance here, and addressing a key issue, veterans and services available to them, obviously having just a Marine himself, he can speak.
If even Newsmax has to cut away, that's when you know it's bad. Next, let's watch JD Vance call Trump and his campaign always faithful when he has, of course, cheated on all 3 of his wives. So definitely the embodiment of faithfulness, right?
Forces, but the one thing that I think the Marines really do is we have the best motto. I have a favorite motto of the U.S. military, and of course I'm biased, but Semper Fidelis, always faithful. Right? You hear Marines say it all the time, Semper Fi. And to me, what it means is that Marines are always faithful to our country and to our brothers and sisters in arms, but it also has another meaning, which is that we always have to be faithful to all of the members of our military who served this country and did so honorably. And you heard Jim Banks talk about this, to all of the members of our military who served this country and did so honorably. And you heard Jim Banks talk about this a little bit, and I want to expound upon it because I really do think that Donald Trump exemplifies that motto, because his government and under his leadership, the United States was always faithful to the veterans of this country, and that's something for us to be proud of. His record and his vision is a vision of always being faithful to those who put on the uniform. And he didn't just...
Next, let's watch this clip where it sounds like only 10 people are clapping.
Proud to serve this country. We're grateful for the opportunity to serve, and we don't like anybody who takes that service for granted. Ain't that right? So I think that, you know...
And what's even funnier about this is this independent journalist tried to say, oh, well, there's actually tons of people here, and then posts an image of only a few people. So it looks like overall, a lot of people just didn't show up. But the final thing I wanted to touch on before getting to JD Vance's embarrassing moment is how bad the setup was for this. Just look at how terrible the lighting in this place was.
I understand why it can seem like nitpicking when our veteran community reads his words and we scream, "Stolen valor." I get it, and I don't judge it. Without serving and deploying, I might not get it either. But I'm hoping that at the very least, by the time that I sit down here today, you'll understand why we are so passionate in our united voice that Tim Walz is a coward who betrayed his men at their greatest time of need and is not fit to serve the United States of America as vice president.
It just seems like they were setting up for a complete failure from the beginning with the lighting. But now let's take a look at JD Vance absolutely humiliating himself in front of this crowd of veterans.
Guys, it's great to be here. It's great to be part of VFW Post 92. I've actually got the card right here in my pocket. I'm officially a member, so this is not the last time you're going to see me.
That was just so embarrassing. JD Vance didn't remember where he was and messed up the name of the VFW. It was so bad that he had to pull that card out to take a look to remember. And then he said that he was now a member and that this was not the last time that they would see him. And the first time I saw this clip, I laughed out loud so hard because this is definitely going to be the last time that they see him there. I am willing to bet that once he left that event, he tore that car up and threw it in the trash. There is no way that he is returning there again, and it's kind of pathetic to see that he tried to claim that he would be. So overall, this was a terrible flop for JD Vance that shows just how little care he has for veterans. So little that he couldn't even care to remember the name of the place that he was visiting. And if he couldn't be bothered to simply remember that, I can't imagine what he'd be like as our vice president. So let's just make sure that that doesn't happen.